Welcome to Girlish Gurus. I'm Joy.
And I'm Susan. And we're here to have discussions about topics on many subjects that we hope are informative, uplifting, and fun.
So, let's get started.
Let's. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Girlish Gurus. This is actually kind of part 2 about Joy's life transformation that happened starting kind of in late 2019, and I don't know that it's ever over, right? No, right. I don't know that our transformation, at least I don't think it should be. I think we should always be trying to evolve and become something more and better. But let's start off this one because we ended the last one kind of on with a hint about this whole process of this makeover guy and you becoming aware of him. So who is this makeover guy and what is the story about all of that?
Who is he indeed? Well, his name is Christopher Hopkins, and we're going to put all the information in the notes here on the podcast in the description so you can reach out, you can look around on his website. Also, I would encourage you to get a copy of his book, Staging Your Comeback. I'm telling you, that book is great. It has everything in it. And the whole experience started, of course, here I am deep in the pandemic in 2020. And that was rough. It was rough for everybody, rough for me. And looking for things to occupy my mind, to distract me, I stumbled across his videos on YouTube. And I talked a little bit about this in the last episode, but I tell you, his makeovers are, first of all, focusing on women who are 45 and older. So, hence the title of the book, Staging Your Comeback. And they were amazing. And he and his mother together are the Makeover Guy and the Wardrobe Woman. And they just are hysterical. They're so funny. And his husband, Robert, is in the business with him as well. Also a lovely, lovely person. And they have a couple of people who work for them. One is their part-time colorist, and the other one is their full-time employee, Kayla Francis, and she is lovely. She is just a delightful person and cute as a button. So this whole group of people, I kind of got to know them through their videos. And I finally thought, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to say, hey, I am also a YouTuber. At the time, I was still in my personal finance world doing my Dollar Llama stuff. They were closed down at that point, and they were just periodically on YouTube posting videos and just getting through just like everyone else. And during their downtime in the depths of 2020 and the pandemic, they came up with a new business model where you actually have a makeover experience. And so you go and you are there for several days and they send you through a just transformational experience. And I was lucky enough to get selected for it. And I think now it's a little bit different because I was in that first year group of applicants. And the way it works is you go there and on the first day you meet with Christopher's mother, Joanne Hopkins, and you go through your whole physique basically, and they measure you, they put you in a cat suit, and they take pictures of your body, which was,
I'm sure that was fun,
a little disconcerting at first, but they're very, very discreet about it, and they're very considerate and thoughtful about the process. And the reason they do it is so they can show you how to dress yourself to maximize your physical presence, basically. And they explain it in such a careful way, and it makes perfect sense because it's all about proportion, it's all about line, that kind of thing. And so they measure you and they plug your measurements into this program, and it prints out a style guide for you, and it tells you the best kind of sleeve, the best kind of collar, the best kind of trouser, the best kind of skirt, the best kind of dress, the best kind of coat. I mean, all kinds of things, including accessories. And then Joanne, his mother, goes over it with you, and she's in her 80s, and she is just a delight. I love her. She's hysterical.
Now, can I ask a question? So, did they develop this program, or is this something they found and they utilized?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I'm not sure. They've been in this field for quite some time, and they know everything about everything. So I'm not 100% sure where it is, but they give you a booklet that has all the information in it, and she and you go through it together.
Okay.
And then you do a trial makeup run with Kayla Francis, who is the makeup artist, and that Christopher has trained. And then you get your hair colored. So that was kind of my first experience. And you are going to see in the video some footage of me going through different parts of the makeup specifically. And I have some pictures in there showing me getting my hair colored, things like that. And so the first day you go through this kind of beginning process. And then the second day, Christopher comes in and cuts your hair. And also, they have measured you. He has looked over photographs and things of your body, and he goes out and shops for an outfit for you. And so you go through another trial run, and you have your hair styled. And so Friday is that day where they're kind of starting to put your look together. And Saturday is the final day where they do your final makeup. You put the outfit on, and then you have your hair styled, and they do a reveal video for you. And it was an incredible process. I could not believe it was me. You'll see in the picture, when I first started, and of course, they take before pictures, and I had wear my hair up all the time anyway, for the most part. But in the before picture, I just looked like a big, hairy oomph. Like bad.
Oh my gosh.
It was bad.
I am sure that's not the case.
No, it was the case. It was the case. Bad. It was bad. And so it's funny because there is actually a video. He put a video of my makeover on YouTube, and we'll put a link to that in the description.
Okay.
And people have made all kinds of comments. I was wearing shorts, a t-shirt, because it was August. Shorts, a t-shirt, and flip-flops. So somebody put in the comments, flip-flops should be illegal. Another person was like, oh, your t-shirt's too tight. All kinds of things, right? All kinds of things. So I just get a big old kick out of those comments, right? So you see in the video how I kind of progress a little bit in his video, and I put together as much as I could from my own experience there and my own. While I was there, I wasn't really taking a lot of video. I took some pictures. I did a few little things like that, but I was so in the moment and in the experience that I felt like I need to be here, and I need to be absorbing as much information as possible, because they don't teach this stuff in school.
Heck no.
I've never had anybody. My sister tried, but that's your sister, and it's like, yeah, leave me alone kind of thing, right? So everything I knew about makeup, for the most part, I learned a little bit from her and from my best friend, who's one time told me, you need to do A, B, and C, because I was getting ready to have some marketing photos taken for the law firm I was working for at the time. And that really didn't stick all that well. So to go through this experience with a team of people who are focused specifically on you, I tell you, I wish every woman could experience this, because it's really not just a makeover. It's really more transformational than that. It's almost like I don't want to sound too woo-woo about it, I guess, but it really is like a journey into yourself in a way. It's like a masterclass in you is what it is, to a certain extent. In terms of how you look and the best approach to your hair, makeup, clothes, things like that.
Well, I think some of that stuff comes naturally for some people. They just,
not me.
they either, I don't know, it either just, it's something they enjoy so much that they do it a lot, so they get very good at it, right? Especially the makeup thing, I think. The other thing is, I think though, we all know that when we look good on the outside and feel like we look beautiful on the outside, it just makes you feel better all the way around. You kind of stand up taller. I don't know, you feel better about yourself inside and out when you look good on the outside. It's just something that happens to you. And I don't know why that is. It just is. It's part of your whole persona, I guess.
Well, people definitely treat me differently when I'm made up and I'm wearing something that fits correctly and is flattering. I definitely see a difference in how people interact with me.
Oh yeah, I think that that's definitely the case for any of us, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Well, is there anything else you want to share specifically about the experience itself while you were there?
It was wonderful. It was just worth it. I wish every woman could do it.
What was the most surprising part of it for you?
The most surprising part of it, I will say that I can't recreate the look exactly that he produced. And I think anybody who is in that experience kind of understands that because he's a professional. He's been doing it for years. So I can't exactly reproduce the look, but I can do pretty well. And once in a while I catch a side of myself. I'm like, wow, look at that. Huh? That's not bad. Pretty good for 50. So really, the most surprising thing is that it's doable. I can, in a short period of time, fix my hair, put a little bit of makeup on, and present my physical best self to the world.
Yeah.
And it's not as complicated as I once made it in my mind.
Right.
So a lot of this, it's surprising the obstacles and the limitations we put on ourselves mentally.
I think that's very true. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's the most surprising thing, I think.
Okay. So outside of the physical part of this and what you've learned to do for yourself, how else has this process, this experience, I guess, changed you?
Well, in a way, it's given me more confidence. And that's an interesting thing for a 50-year-old woman to say. There's a certain confidence that comes from life experience and being 50. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
Mm-hmm. But the makeover really pushed me forward in just feeling transformed, I guess, in a way.
Okay.
And like I've said before, you have to reinvent yourselves. And actually, there was an attorney who I loved that was a little bit of a mentor to me. And she said to me one time, and I was probably in my 30s, she said, Joy, you're going to have to reinvent yourself over and over again. Mm-hmm. And I think partly she was talking about how to keep your relationship with your spouse interesting. But really, that was a very profound statement, and it applied in so many more ways than just your relationship with your partner. For me, it's been the thing that has sustained me as you go through this life change and move into the next chapter. So reinvention is a big deal. You have to become proficient at it, I think. And this experience really just kind of gave me the fortitude to say, okay, yeah, I do want to continue moving forward as a content creator. I do think that that's possible for me. And if you go back and look at my videos from New Cash View, I look at them and I think, wow, I look really bad in those videos. Really bad. And I think that that is part of this overall process. You want to present your best self, and there's something about that connection, that like, know, and trust factor that plays into this as well. So it has just made a huge difference in my desire to continue down this path. It's like, okay, yeah, I can see myself doing it. I can see myself getting better and moving into more of a creative role. And so it's just been a fundamental part of it, but it has been just a wonderful experience, and I have just enjoyed every minute of it.
Good. That's good. All right. So what was the reaction of Ron, your husband, your family, your friends, when you came home and presented this new, it is a new you, but it isn't a new you. You know what I mean? Presented this Joy 2.0.
Right. Right.
Right?
Well, first of all, one of them was I presented myself to you. Remember?
Yes, you did. But I wanted to hear, I'm going to share my thoughts, but I wanted to hear what your husband and your family and maybe other friends.
Okay. Now, Ron, he said, well, I think you really ever needed a makeover. And you've always been beautiful to me, that kind of thing. He likes me barefaced. I was very touched by his remarks. The family, wow, the family. My mother-in-law had plenty to say about it. Oh, Joy, your hair, your makeup, oh my God, you're just, I love it. You look so beautiful. Oh, blah, blah. And my father-in-law said, you need more eyeliner. Yeah. Oh. But since then, I've had quite a few reactions from people, and there are people who compliment me who've never met me before and didn't know how disheveled I was before. And one of them, I had gone to an event. My best friend was getting married, and they had a little event for her, and an older woman said to me, "Are you your mother's daughter?" And I said, I questioned that. I thought, I'm not sure where this is going, but I think so, yes. And she said, because you're very, very pretty.
Aww.
Like, wow, okay, well, I can also write a brief, just so you know. But thank you. And another dear friend of mine, my friend Emily, she is a brilliant, brilliant attorney. And she said to me, I don't like to measure someone's status, especially female, by how they look. She said, but you are just looking extraordinary these days. And she said, you should get on TikTok or whatever and make videos talking about this process, because I think you could help a lot of people. And so that's part of why I came to you and said, hey, this should be on our podcast, or we should do some videos about this, because I knew I had all that footage and everything.
Right.
So really, there have been so many positive reactions from people who didn't know me before, and just a lot of compliments and things like that, which that's all great. But really, I think the best and most memorable comment was the one from the older lady who was like, are you your mother's daughter? Because at first I wasn't sure what she was talking about.
Right.
Yeah. And then at that same event, there were a group of older ladies there. One of them said, oh, well, you're such a nice young lady. And I said, well, I'm not really that young. I'm 50. And everybody at the table, no way. Yes. And so I feel rejuvenated in many ways. Mm-hmm. And I think it's not just the makeup and the hair and the clothes, but it's kind of
it's
inner
internal
thing too.
It's an inner, and that's interesting, because I think something to reflect on about all of it is that while it is outward, and maybe we shouldn't emphasize all of that all the time, blah, 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 it does change the inward you. Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, and at least the way I look at it, it's important. And it's great, because if it's going to change how you feel about yourself inside,
right, that's all that matters.
I'm all for that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to tell you what my...
Let it rip, Susan.
What my reaction was when all this happened, because I was kind of with you when you were planning all of this and getting ready to go, and then you went. And I remember meeting you at a crepe place for breakfast, and you wanted to film my reaction. So I sat there facing the door waiting for you to come in. And of course we had to wear masks. So you had a mask on, but I tried not to. And so then you took your mask off, and I just remember being floored. Like, I knew you were beautiful anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Because you are. You've got such beautiful skin and pretty eyes, and you're such a beautiful person inside.
Thank you.
That's the person.
So are you.
That's the person I had gotten to know, right? So I knew that. But then I saw you, and I just was like, wow. Mm-hmm. He helped her put what's inside on the outside.
I think so too.
And then on top of all of that, the beauty, I saw a level of confidence I hadn't seen in you before. Mm-hmm. It like a switch. It was like a switch.
Yep.
And I have noticed that it has stayed that way ever since. Something happened to your confidence level after you had that experience.
I agree with you. Definitely.
And that's what I saw more than anything.
I agree with you. I feel like it was sort of the next step after the whole initial weight loss and nutrition regimen. Yeah, it was like the next step.
Right.
It was a wonderful experience, and it has given me a huge boost in confidence, and it was just so valuable in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shortly thereafter, that's when we started talking about starting a podcast.
Right.
And it kind of has blossomed into this.
Yeah, it sure has.
Right. And a lot of my confidence level, in part, was from the makeover and feeling like I'm looking better, feeling like my inside and my outside match. But a lot of that, too, came from getting used to all of this technology and understanding it and beginning to really become proficient in it, because I do all the tech part here. So all those things together just made me feel like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Oh. So it's all kind of come together in a weird kind of way.
Yeah. Besides all the work you do for our podcast and our videos, you also do another podcast and
Right.
do videos for Everyday Macaroni. So you've got that going as well, and I know that keeps you busy. So
It's so fun.
So really, you've had a lot change, not just as far as taking better care of yourself and going through this makeover, but just evolving into this creative, like we talked about, from having this identity as an attorney.
Well, I'm still an attorney. I still
Yeah.
have that identity. But that has also taught me a lesson about identity and how you view yourself.
Right.
And what it means to be more than just that one little thing.
Yeah.
You and I have had conversations about that plenty.
Right, because I've learned that lesson too. I think so many of us identify with what we do instead of who we are
Right.
as a person. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one to let go of, I think.
Oh, really, really tough, especially when you're tied into your identity as this or that, and have been for so many years. For me, I was so tied into my identity as a lawyer, and yeah, that transitioning away from that, it was incredibly scary, and still is to a certain extent.
Sure.
But it's just so exhilarating seeing all the possibility and opportunity to help so many other people. And I had someone, a good friend of mine, she said to me one time, Joy, there's more than one way to help somebody. And that has stayed with me in such a profound way. And that's part of this whole journey, really.
Right.
So the opportunity is just endless. As far as I'm concerned, it's limitless. We're going to get to do whatever we want. So,
Yeah.
And you and I have so much fun together.
I know we do. And we have so many plans for this
Oh,
year.
so many plans.
So many fun things planned and ideas for things to
Get
try.
ready, listener. Yep, get ready.
And do. And also, I guess the last thing I would want to ask you about all of this that we've talked about is if you could give advice to other women, not only in your age group, my age group, which is a little bit older than you, and especially for young women, if you could give them any kind of, I don't know that advice is the right word, but
Words of wisdom.
words of wisdom about what you learned from going through all of this, what would those be, do you think?
First of all, you're fine just the way you are right now, in this moment. You are fine. Secondly, get plenty of sleep. Get plenty of sleep, wear sunscreen, and take it easy on yourself, because nobody's going to be nicer to you than you. If you feel like you need a makeover, by all means, go get it. But the truth is, I really feel like everybody's journey is different, and you have to make your decision about what is the most important thing for you. Because Christopher and his mother, they sing a song that it's all illusion, and the clothes you wear and the way you style your hair and your makeup and those kinds of things, those things aren't who you are either. They are just what you project to the world. And there's something that Christopher Hopkins talks about, and that is the power of pretty. And he's right. There is a certain amount of power in presenting yourself to the world in a particular way. But again, that's not who you are. That's just how you interact with the world. So if I had any advice to give, I would just say be happy. And I know that's a generality, but the goal is to define what happiness looks like for you and work to achieve that. So happiness is an inside job. You know?
It is.
It really is.
And all of that stuff is just an enhancement to who you already are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because every one of us is beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
In our own way.
I look at people a lot differently now.
Do you really?
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you see someone who's just happy. Mm. If they're happy, and even I've heard Christopher say this himself, the most important beauty tip he can give you is smile, be happy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. So I look at people differently now. I look for the spark of happiness when I meet people. Which before, I would look at people with the perspective of they're coming to me for a transaction and they're looking for legal services or whatever. So I was looking at them with an expectation. And so now I look at them and I look for the spark of happiness instead, which is so much better. It really is.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
super fun.
Yeah. That's a great way to end this, I think. If we can all find that spark of happiness within ourselves, we're more than halfway there.
And
more.
And express yourself through dance any way you can.
That's right. It's all good.
It is all good. You can never have too much joy.
No, you can't. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm sure that you got a lot from this episode as well. We hope you did. Please make sure you were watching all our videos on YouTube and listening to all our podcasts. We so appreciate it. And we have so much fun doing them. So make sure you keep listening.
And check the episode notes and video notes for all the contact information for the Makeover Guy. And I think we can put a link to his book in there for you.
Yes, absolutely. We'll do that.
Start watching his videos too, because they're fantastic.
They really are. They really are. And make sure you check out Joy's on our YouTube channel. So thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Girlish Gurus. We hope you'll join us next time for another fun and interesting topic. And please be sure to check the notes for information and links that were included in this discussion today.
Also, don't forget you can find us on our social media platforms, starting with Instagram, Facebook, and now, including YouTube. You can find us by searching Girlish Gurus. And please remember to give this episode a good review and share it with your girlfriends, because the more interaction we get with our podcast episodes, the more episodes we can post. Finally, you can find us on our website, girlishgurus.com.
Thanks again.
See you next time.
Bye.